Hello. Welcome to Jason Mayfield on film. That was a bad intro. That's what that was. Hey, listen, today what I want to do is I want to show you how I do overhead shots. I get this question a lot from other YouTubers who want to know how I'm doing my overhead shots. Now, what I'm going to show you today is not perfect. I have some frustrations with my overhead shots. Now, to cut to the chase, I think if you replaced my stand that I'm going to show you with a C stand, you'd probably be fine. But I'm going to set it up, show you how it works, and then I'm going to tear it back down because I don't actually have anything to shoot. Probably should have done this on one of those days. So it all starts on the equipment wall. The equipment wall is where I store everything. When I'm not using it, normally I have my big Godox light right here, but I've got it set up. We'll see that in a sec. We'll see it in a second. But I keep everything up here because it just makes life easier when the floor is not covered in equipment all the time. The only thing that I keep up all the time is this one camera. And I'm starting to keep another camera up at the desk, but I keep this set up and ready to go, and it rolls around and just goes wherever I need it to. But because it's on wheels, it changes everything. Wheels change it all. I should probably be wearing a lav mic for this video, but I'm not. So, right here, I use this big overhead boom stand. This is actually intended for a light. And sometimes I use it in the Grace for Life setup when I'm teaching. I actually do use this for lights. I'll put a link to this or something similar to it. I'll also put a link to a C stand in the description below. So I don't have all the details on this. I think I hodgepodged it, so I'm going to have to go back through some Amazon stuff to check it out. But in a nutshell, what we got here is a boom stand. So let me show you how I set it up and what goes on with it. So typically in an overhead shot, I am going to be at my desk because that's the best place to do an overhead at. And then I'm going to have my light set up. I'm also going to have this camera on me. So this is going to be the camera that is filming me. Then I'm going to put this boom stand up next to it. Now, whenever you do a boom stand, I would highly recommend that you use sandbags. I keep my sandbags under my table on a little lip that I made. So put a couple of sandbags on it, and that's going to keep it weighted. So that's just to weight the base. Then we're going to take the boom here, and we're just going to line it up wherever we want it to go. In this case, that's looking actually pretty good. And because I use the ball head that I'm going to link in the description below, I don't have to have it straight on, even though this is tall enough and long enough that I could put it back here. So actually, for this video, I will put it back here so we can kind of see the length. Now, once I've extended it, I like to put a counterweight on the back, which is just going to help there to be a little more balance. Now, the deal is on the counterweight, this is kind of just physics. The shorter end needs a heavier weight than the long end. So this weighs significantly more than the camera I'm about to put up there. Now, when I set this up, I am going to be running into this TV here. Actually, this is just a computer monitor that I scratched, so it got demoted to reference monitor. But I am going to be using this to see my view. So I've got my HDMI cable here, which probably could use a clamp. Now I'm going to take this multifunctional camera setup, which you need to go see that video description, or link is in the description below. You need to go see that video if you don't know what I'm talking about. Multifunctional camera setup. Get that thing ready. We will line this up as much as we can, but the HDMI can help with this a ton. So having that ready to go can be super helpful. All right, so now we can get right in where we want to be. Now typically with this, I would have a zoom lens on here. And one of the nice things about using the wood is it actually kind of helps you level everything out. Now, since I don't have, I'll go ahead and start recording that just in case I want to. Now, since I don't have the wood, I'm going to digitally zoom in here. So typically in this setup, I would have my A7 III going into the Adamus, so I could be watching that reference of myself. But now you see on this screen, I've got whatever I'm doing. Now you'll notice I made a mistake. I'll turn that around. The nice thing about this being mounted from the top is, one, I don't have to mess with it in post, but the bigger deal is that now my hands are moving in the same direction. So whenever I'm referencing what I'm doing, I can see on the screen that I'm not out here in areas that I shouldn't be. So if you do need to push in on these, you can use the digital zoom, so that's nice. But typically I would have a zoom on here, so I would be messing around. Now, I told you earlier that there was something that bothered me. There was a nuisance issue with this setup, and that is it, is that this is a little wobbly. You can see that wobbling. And whenever I go to digitally zoom in, it gives me that problem. I think a C-stand will solve that. And I'm not against the idea of building something that goes on this table where I have an overhead rig on a regular basis, but I'm just not there yet. I know if I do it, it's not going to be beautiful. But this is my overhead rig. This is how I do it. And so I can come in here and I can review a product such as these little elastic shoelace things, and I can review, and I'm reviewing, I'm talking about how they're good for the environment, and you should write your name on them. And I can do that whole thing right here with this overhead setup, and we are done, Jack. So if you like videos like this, make sure that you like, you comment, you subscribe, click the bell so you get notified anytime I post a video, and I will see you in the next video.